Thank you for the introduction, Mr. Chairman, and to the Department of Civil Rights for carrying out the work of making sure that all of our citizens are treated fairly in this state. I am privileged to come and just give really more than a stamp of approval, but a perspective on how important it is in Michigan that we eradicate, to the extent that we can humanly, hate in our state. Now, I know that this is tough, and I often say it's a lot easier to amend the stuff that's between the pages of the law books than it is to amend the stuff between the ears. And what Chairman Abdrabo said about action and taking it back home is so important. You all know that, or you wouldn't be here. But when you think about what the cause is of hatred, I think we all know that it is born of unfamiliarity, that it is born of fear when someone is not familiar with someone else. That if someone perhaps themselves feels inadequate, that they fill in the blanks by blaming someone else, and therefore taking out their own potential inadequacies on someone that they don't know. And so if we're in agreement that the base of hatred often lies in fear and unfamiliarity, what is it that we do together about it? One of the things that I think is so critical in creating a culture not just of tolerance, but of celebration of differences, the importance of doing that is underscored by some high-profile and strong prosecutions when people step over the line, because that's a statement that we as a community do not tolerate these acts. And so I know Steve Murphy is going to say a word from the Eastern District of Michigan, but I know the U.S. Attorney's Office there is it today, the sentencing the third individual, right?
It's adjourned, Governor.
It's adjourned. Okay, you're probably going to talk about that. And I'm not going to steal your thunder on it, except to say that this case that the U.S. Attorney's Office has been prosecuting in Taylor, Michigan, where some white men really tried to scare a family, and in fact did end up succeeding in the family leaving the neighborhood, having burned their house. Well, this is a high-profile prosecution that is important to us because it allows us as a community to say this is not acceptable. These men who did this, you have to ask, and they were in their late 30s, what are the lessons that they grew up with? What were they being taught at home as youth? This is a family that, the family who was the victim, the Doster family, moved into a white neighborhood, and they wanted to chase them out. Were they afraid? Was that fear that they learned as children so embedded in and ossified, petrified into hatred in their psyche that they had to act out in this way? And I think the fact that they are getting something like 17 years in federal prison is a strong and powerful statement about how we do not tolerate intimidating people in Michigan. So powerful prosecutions are one way of changing the culture. Arming prosecutors with powerful tools is another way of sending a message about the importance of all of Michigan, embracing all of Michigan. And so having a Hate Crimes Act that has enhanced penalties for hatred is an important statement. Making sure that the Hate Crimes Act is expansive enough to include people, to include sexual orientation, people with disabilities, to include immutable characteristics, that often cause people to fear. Third, in addition to the tools and the high-profile prosecutions that send a statement and a message, if you go deeper and broader, it's so important that we as a state create diverse communities. And this is why building up cities to invite all people, to celebrate the differences. The most vibrant communities in our country are communities that are diverse. That's true in suburban neighborhoods and it's true in cities. It's also true in universities and it's true in schools. The minute you've got a neighborhood, a school, a business that has people who've only had one experience, who look the same and think the same, then you have all of a sudden, I think, taken away your greatest tool in attracting people and in being competitive in a global economy. To me, the 21st century and globalization means that as a state, Michigan, in order to be competitive with this challenged economy that we have got to go out and invite people from other countries to come to our state. We have to invite diversity. We have to invite an interesting and creative tapestry of people in our state. And when they come, we have to not just welcome them, but weave them into the greater fabric that is Michigan. Because really, really, the way you get the best businesses and the best students is by having people with different points of view in the room, right? I mean, that's where you get the best creativity. If I'm in a room with all people who think like me and look like me and have my experiences, where am I going to get the creativity? The creativity is born of differences and of being able to share and experience differences with one another. So, building communities that are diverse, cities that are diverse, an economy that's diverse is critical to our economic strategy, but it's also critical to fostering a community of Michigan that really loves instead of hates. I do believe that this has to start at the youngest ages, and I know you all agree with me, and that means in schools. And my oldest daughter, who I just sent off this week to the University of Michigan, she went to a school nearby here. But no, she did. I mean, in high school, East Lansing High School. And the reason why we chose to send her to East Lansing High School is because East Lansing is an incredibly diverse school. And I said to her, and she really loved the school because it was so diverse. And we were talking one day about, we were talking about Proposal 2, and we were talking about affirmative action and all of that and the importance of it. And she was saying that, Mom, the reason why East Lansing High School is such a great place is because it is uncool to hate. That's the kind of culture we have to create in this state. Her friend said, Mom, her friend was talking to me, she called me Mom. Mom, it is so 20th century to hate. That's the kind of mindset we've got to create across the state. That we're not like that. That in Michigan, you don't do that. That we don't tolerate intolerance in our state. That we are one Michigan. That we're all in this together. There may be 2 Virginias. There may be 2 Carolinas and 2 Dakotas. And we may have 2 peninsulas. But we are one Michigan. So I applaud you for coming together to demonstrate in the state of Michigan that we are all about being one state, all of our people, and that in order to get there, sometimes you got to show a little tough love. God bless you all. Thank you.